Hey folks, welcome back to Only Best Fantasy Novels. My name is Robin, and today the Joe Abercrombie reread continues with The Trouble with Peace, the second book in the Age of Madness trilogy. And with this series, Joe put together really something unique, mainly when he gave us a little hatred. And with this one, he just ups the ante, ups the tension, ups the stakes, ups everything. Like, this book escalates everything in the best possible way. Anyway. Let's get into it. What happens in this book? What is this book about? So, following directly on the events of the previous book, the Union experiences a brief moment of respite, a brief moment of peace, essentially. But the trouble with peace is that it never lasts. Savine, traumatized by the events of Valbec, returns to society and finds that she's not quite able to function the way she was, as the ruthless businesswoman she was before Valbec. Leo settles into his role of Lord Governor, but he quickly finds himself frustrated with the tactics of the Close Council and the iron boot that they put on his neck as the Governor of England. Rickert begins to lose her grip on reality as the long eye, as the use of the long eye continues to overshadow her perception and essentially disassociate her from reality. And also struggles with the new position that he's in, and as peace permits grudges to basically be nursed and schemes to flourish. The trouble with peace is that it never lasts. So like I said, this picks up right after the events of A Little Hatred, and it doesn't waste a second. Like, middle book syndrome is not the thing with this series. I can't help comparing it to the Forest Law trilogy, and the criticisms that trilogy faces because of the slow pace. So the slow pace, the plotting, and that kind of thing. These books have none of those issues. Like, right from the get go, you're thrown immediately into climactic events, and it just keeps escalating from there. We almost a little time is taken to reintroduce the characters who are at this point very different from where we saw them in the first book, given everything that's happened, and they're thrown right into deep political intrigue and all that juicy good stuff that we like. And when I say the characters have changed, they have changed for the better. Whether it be them being forced to rise to the occasion of a new role, or whether they had their illusions shattered, or even the chains that were placed on them undone. These kind of things. Like, they're a little more. They've come a little more into their role, into what their what their final form is essentially in this in the trajectory of their lives so far, and we very much see that. Of course, right before everything takes a decidedly bad twist for them, at least. So there's that. Like, a big theme, just a big feel of these novels so far has just been the passage of time and the passing of the torch. Like, in the first series, it was very much more feudal. It was like technology wasn't quite a thing as yet. This one is very much industrial age. Technology dominates the world of society. That one, magic played a much more prevalent role. In this one, there's very little that arcane might can do that a bag of gold can't do just as well, that kind of thing. And with this book, we continue to see the passing of the torch as favorite characters from the First Law trilogy and the Great Leveler trilogy. As those characters, they essentially fade into the limelight, passing on their roles and responsibilities and the places that they held in the story onto their successors. So there's all of that going on. But as for this novel, let's just first talk about this. Let's just kind of delve into what exactly goes on in this novel. It's just it's a lot of political intrigue, mystery, backstabbing, hypocrisy, all that juicy good stuff that makes Joe's books just so fun to read. I don't need to I'm not going to waste time talking about his writing, his characterization, and all of that, because I've spoken about that ad nauseum at this point, and you know what you get. What you're signing up for when you pick up a Joe Abercrombie book, especially if you're watching the video based on the second book in a sequel series of his. Like, you know what you're dealing with at this point. what else can I say about this book? In much the same vein as the first one, it continues the trend of being a bit more plot focused than A Little Hatred, than its equivalent in the first trilogy before Their Hand was. Quite a bit more happens in all the best ways possible. Like there's multiple plot threads that play out here. We have one in the north. We have the story surrounding Orso. We have just the entire situation that's been brewing in this series so far. It started to tip over in the first book, and it very much comes to a head in this one, and in just the most brutal way possible. And then what else can I say about this? Like, I can't really get into it because it's the middle book of a trilogy. Like, you can't really talk about this stuff without spoilers. But everything that you love about Joe, you can expect to find here. Like, this trilogy so far, even though this is a reread for me, like, it just continues to emphasize that this is just Joe at his sharpest, doing what he does best. Excellent character work. Unlike the First Law trilogy, it's a very tight plot and a very tight story to tell, with like so many events going on. The one thing that helps to keep that fresh is that we'll pop in on characters at key moments in their story. So we don't really waste a lot of time with them on side quests and these kind of things. Essentially, we pop in on them for just the right moments to see just the key things about them that will play a part in the story moving forward. And as I've said before, like, it's not just the overall plotting I like about this book, it's the way that Joe will play with scenes and play with kind of give us the same scenario with two different sides of a coin, essentially. So there's a scene in here, for example, where a certain king is being met by two different parties, and the comparison could not be more hilarious, because of course this is Joe, and we do meet them back to back. We do see the encounters happen back to back. When you read it, you'll know what I'm talking about. As far as the characters go, like Ricker and Orso continue to be my favorite of the series, which is funny given that there is a Galacta in this series. But Ricker and Orso continue to be my favorite. Like, I just love Ricker's wildness and the whole freaky vibe she has. I just love that about her. I love her personality. And then there's Orso. I like the fact that he's just this complete wastrel, but underneath it is a genuinely good person who wants to do good, who wants to be given the power to do good, but as can be expected, like, it's not an easy road to make those, to actually wanting to do something and being able to achieve it is two completely different things, especially when you're in a society as corrupt and convoluted as this one. But like, there's a particular scene. I won't get into it. I can't get into spoilers. I'm trying to avoid spoilers. But yeah, Rick and Orso, they continue to steal the show from me. And Orso's entire entourage from, like I said, it's not just one of the things that really makes Orso's character shine. It's just the entourage that he's surrounded himself with, from Hildy to Corporal Toddy, who is one of my favorite characters from the First Law, by the way. The fact that he's here, he's very much a present part of this trilogy. Like, I love these books. What can I say? I love these books. I love what Joe's put together here. I'm enjoying them even more on a reread. And yeah, I'll just keep going. Next up is The Wisdom of Crowds, the brutal finale to what's been a brutal trilogy. And there's some I distinctly recall some interesting things happening there in that book that I'm looking forward to talk about. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say about The Wisdom of Crowds. Sorry, the Trouble with Peace. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.